What's up, everybody? Welcome to Food for Thought. I am your host, yours truly, Sub0501 here. Oops, excuse me. And I am excited to bring for you another Food for Thought for today. Of course, these Food for Thoughts, they are meant to invoke idea. They're meant to invoke thought, ideas, and give you true insight into the minds of the modern day people. And we're talking about everyone from all over the world. We're talking about in our society and other society. But first and foremost, I want to I want you to know what's going on in the world. On my show, of course, these food for thoughts are more so focused on relationships, situations, ships, and different things of that nature. But I want to touch on something at the very beginning of the show that is kind of just intriguing to me. We saw yesterday Hamas did an all-out assault on Israel, and we saw things start to take place over in the Middle East. And first and foremost, I want to let my people know, all the people that enjoy these podcasts, please be prayerful about Israel and what they're going through right now. Of course, the Ukraine and different spots all over the world, but more so Israel, because these things are getting worse. The world is falling apart right before our eyes. When one thing that we know that everyone needs is prayer. But that being said, I want to thank you all for coming in and actually participating in this food for thought today, because I think the topic is exciting. Accountability is something that a lot of people don't have nowadays. They don't have accountability for the things that they go through and the things that they do to affect other people. That being said, I want you to really think within yourself, do you hold yourself accountable when it really matters? That is a big question. Do you hold yourself accountable when it really do matter? Now, I asked that question, and then I want to illustrate. If you don't, I want to offer you an opportunity to get a copy of my book, Right Task, Wrong Woman. I said right task, wrong woman. Now, the thing about Right Task, Wrong Woman is this. I love that it gives you not only an insight and a dive into my own life, but it gives you insight into what you can do about your own life to change it. Now, realistically, let's be realistically. When it comes down to the things that we go through, we don't like to talk about them. And hold on one second. I think I'm getting a double mic. Let me see, make sure this mic is off. Okay, let me know if that sounds a lot better. Hopefully that sounds a lot better. Write down in the comments below and let me know if that sounds a lot better. But back to what I was saying, right task, wrong woman. This book helps give you insight into things that you're going through in your life to help you make changes for the better, to help you not just settle for just anything, but you want to make sure that not only you get the maximum out of the maximum potential out of your life, but you want to make sure that you're doing it with the right person. Right task, wrong woman. I said it. Right task, wrong woman. That being said, you know what it is. Right task, wrong woman. And I want you to be able to get a copy of this book and be able to enjoy it, read it, and then give insight, give a review on how it made you feel, what you felt when you read it. Because truth be told, a lot of us go through situations and we don't share them. But when we do start sharing things, and when we see other people be able to share the feelings, the emotions, and the experiences that we were able to go through, it encourages others to be able to open up and talk about the experiences that they might have had along the way. So, right task, wrong woman. I just want to encourage you to support, and I want to thank you all for the ones that have supported me over these, over the years, over the weeks and months that I've really been putting in my hard work, trying to make sure that not only I had something good to present to the people in Right Task, Wrong Woman, but to make sure that I had enough substance to continue to build off of. That being said, one more thing I want to touch on. I am in the middle of creating my Get to Know Crypto book, and I'm almost done with the last couple of chapters, and I'm excited because this book does not just let you know what crypto is all about. It's the doorway that unlocks the path to crypto into your life. And what I mean by that is there's a lot of people that don't know that crypto has the potential of making a lot of us rich. And I'm not talking about riches in the sense of riches having a whole bunch of money in your hand. No, rich with knowledge. Knowledge of knowing how to put your money in different places, take your money out and have it in a secure place. Not only that, but take your money and have it in a place that it can grow instead of you having to worry about the same old, dealing with the same old. Now, you know when I'm talking about the same old, the bank systems. You're trying to invest your money, you try to put it into something good where it makes you more money, and it does absolutely nothing. That's what we're trying to get away from. We don't want you to have to deal with the financial systems of the world to where it does nothing for you. We want to introduce you to a new way to put your money into something that grows and it'll benefit you in the long run. Get to know crypto. But letting off of get to know crypto, let's move to accountability. Yes, accountability. This is a real good one. Well, first and foremost, let's look at what accountability is. I want you to think to yourself, what is accountability? What is accountability to you? What is accountability to you? What is accountability? What is accountability? I'll give you a few more seconds where you can pull it up, where you can tell me what you think is accountability. Accountability, according to the dictionary, is the fact or a condition of being accountable or responsible. Now, we could talk about accountability in a sense of, just being responsible for things that you go through and things that you experience. But let's talk about it in the sense of a relationship. Accountability in the sense of relationships. When you think of someone being accountable in a relationship, we're talking about they take the responsibilities not only for their actions, but for the responses. They take responsibilities for the totality of how everything transpired based off of their actions in it. So when we think of accountability, we think of individuals that are taking the blame for it all. It's the first thing we think of when we think of accountability. When you think of accountability, do you think of you having to take the blame for it all? Are you thinking of you having to take the blame, or someone else having to take the blame for the failures that you end up having to experience in a relationship? Failure is such a big word. It's a harsh word. A lot of people look at failure and they think that failure is such a bad thing. But realistically, failure is actually a good thing. Because how can you learn how to become better if you have never experienced what worse or what failure is? So when we think about failure, a lot of people take failure as a non-option for them, because failure means that they were a part of the problem. Failure means that they were the problem. And realistically, a lot of these individuals are the problem. And I know you be like, man, this ain't no way I'm the problem in a relationship. But that's where the accountability falls in, because people don't like to take the accountability. They don't like to take the blame for the failures behind the situations that they get themselves into. Accountability. There are men everywhere on this planet that do not take accountability. They don't take accountability for their children. They don't take accountability for the fact that they were a part of the reason why they have the children. They don't take accountability for the fact that they have them here, so they have to take care of the children. They don't take accountability for what led to them being at the point where they are in their life currently. Like, accountability. They don't take accountability for the actions that they partake in that influences or that changes the perspective or the actions of a woman's life. Um, Take accountability for the lies that they told, the way they manipulated, or in the words of my mama, they manipulated their ways into a woman's pants. And through their manipulation, they were not only able to acquire that special part of that woman, but they were able to acquire more than just those special parts. They were able to acquire her heart, those emotional ties, the connection that you typically would see individuals have when they are in a deep relationship. But through manipulation, through lies and through deceit, a lot of guys get women that are not on, or should I say, they get women with bad intentions, and the women would have never chose them if it wasn't for the lies and the manipulation. And there's a lot of men that don't take accountability for these actions because the I guess you could say the sense of failure that comes behind the accountability that comes with it. Oh man, the reason that me and her didn't make it or work out was because of this and this and this and that and this and that. No, the reality is you weren't man enough to come out and tell her. You just weren't feeling her vibes, or it was certain things that she did that pushed you away, or you didn't know how to communicate that you really wasn't in it for building a real relationship. You was just in it for the draws, Tommy. And it's not cool because you have now damaged individuals walking around looking for love and looking for genuine relationships, and they can't have these things because old Tommy then basically squeezed all the juice he could out of the pineapple, and now what's left is the greenery and no one wants to eat it. Accountability. Or we can switch the sides. We can switch we can flip sides, and we can look at it from a man's aspect to a woman. There are a lot of women that don't take accountability. Nobody told you to lay down with Roscoe and have a baby. I saw I saw a post online. It was kind of funny. I saw a post online and it said, in the post it said, Your Honor, they were fighting for, that's what it was. Alright, so in the post they were fighting for custody. It was a cartoon skit. And the woman said, well, I want to have custody of my child. And the woman was like, well, I raised the child, I take care of the child, and I do this and I do that. And the judge was like, yep, that sounds about right. I mean, that's a justifiable stance. Sir, and what do you have to say? He said, Your Honor, if I put $1 in a Pepsi machine and a Pepsi pops out, does the Pepsi belong to the machine or to the person that put the $1 in? And everybody stopped. It goes different ways for different folks, I guess. But realistically, when it comes down to accountability, we look at women, and we always say women don't hold accountability because we see it on the regular. When women get caught up in a whole bunch of stuff, they will always try to switch the blame to push it up on other people, just like men. And I would even stretch it and say it like this. Women learn how to throw off accountability from the actions and watching the actions and the behaviors of men. Because typically, when you run into real genuine ladies, real genuine women, those women usually don't have a problem being honest and open when when they were the reason, they were the ones that instigated or started, or they are the reason behind a situation transpiring. They don't have no problems taking accountability for being that part. But one thing that I know about women is that they will never take all of the accountability. And that's one thing about men. We either take all of it or nothing. But women, they will make sure that you understand where, how it stops, which part they played in, where they was trying to draw the line and everything. And make sure that it's juicy enough to where you don't think that they were just in it all the way for straight malice. But I'm gonna be honest with you. I think that a lot of people don't do things out of malice from the heart. I think people do things without the expectation of the results, and based off the results that they experience, that's when they start to measure and start to, I guess you could say, determine whether they will accept accountability on those type of scenarios or not. I have a question for you. Do you take accountability for the actions that you partake in? What about the bad ones, the real bad ones? Have you ever been in a relationship with someone that never took accountability? Have you ever been in a relationship with someone that made sure you took accountability? Ooh, that's a good one. How many times do we get into a relationship with people that actually hold us to what we say? Hold us to what we mean. You was saying this earlier. Is that what you're still going to do? Yeah, that's what I'm still going to do. Okay, I'm expecting for you to do it. Holding a person accountable. I think we all need someone in our lives that holds us accountable. Because accountability is a problem not just that men or women, not just that men have. It's a problem that men and women have. I want to keep stemming on what the accountability of women though. One thing that women got to take into accountability for is their rambunctious behavior from time to time. Not being able to control themselves from time to time. And I'm not saying this is characteristic of every woman. I'm saying that if this fits these shoes fit, this is for you. If these slippers are on your feet, this is for you. Rambunctious behavior. You need to take accountability for those actions. And you and your friends, if you have friends that act ratchet out in public, and those friends that make it embarrassing for you to even be around them, you know what I'm talking about. I'm talking about those friends that make you be like, oh Lord. I'm talking about those friends. I'm talking about those friends that make you scratch your head and be like, I ain't with them. I ain't going out with them next time. You know which friends I'm talking about. You know exactly which friends I'm talking about. I'm talking about those friends that make you second guess before you get in the car with them. Those friends. Why don't you speak to those friends? Why don't you tell them, hey, you be acting a little bit. You trying to calm down, or I ain't going to be going nowhere with you. One thing that I learned, and I had a best friend. This is my best buddy. His name was Billy. He passed away a few years ago from a heart attack. But my best friend, you could kick it with him. He could be your best friend. You did everything together. And I'm gonna tell you one thing: you second guessed before you got in that car with him, because you never knew what he would do. And this is the thing. If I had, I would tell him, hey man, you chill out, I ain't going nowhere with you. But if people that you're connected to gave you the reality check that you needed, he gave you that insight that you needed, where your behavior don't go beyond that outlandish point, then a lot of us would act a lot better. A lot of us would treat each other a lot better. Why? Because we know, hey, these behaviors, if we got someone to check those behaviors and let you know these behaviors are contrary to what I want around me, then I'm pretty sure your friends would second guess and consider their behaviors around you. That being the case, let your friends know when they're exhibiting behaviors that's in contrary to what you like. Ratchet behavior. Come on now. We gotta cut out the ratchet behavior. Now, another one I want to get on to. Very, very sexy, outlandish styles and looks to be seen. The reason I say this is because there are two factors. First and foremost, birds of a feather flock together. We had that food for thought a couple of days ago, or a couple of weeks ago, and I want to touch on that because if you're hanging around people that dress and act and they display themselves in a manner in which you don't, I understand you don't have to partake in the actions. However, because you are with these individuals, you will be categorized by individuals through stereotyping, regardless whether you are them or not. Realistic. It's just like you see a guy hanging around other guys that resemble the characteristics of one person that you know that is a very bad or very outlandish or out of the box of normality person. You're gonna basically stereotype, and you're gonna say just about all of them must be similar to him if they are with that individual. So this not just a sexy look, sexy behavior or whatever. Some of us are going well beyond the normalities of what we consider sexy. And we have to be the actual police of each other. I mean, you know, they talk about fashion police. You ever heard of fashion police? The fashion police, they let people know when your fashion is all out of whack. And let's keep it 100. A lot of us, we will tell our friends things to help build them up. But when it's things that or not contradict, but when it's things that challenge another person's character, we shy away from it. We shouldn't do that. A good friend don't do that. A good lover don't do that. A good family member don't do that. We have to be able to speak up and talk about these things that you know, not only make other people look bad, but make us look bad as well. You want your friends and your families to look good for you, don't you? You ever see you back in the day, we used to be able to, we about to go in the store. My mom had 4 of us, so I'm the second to the youngest. I'm the baby. So we would go to the store collectively, right? And as we would go to the store collectively, my mama would be walking us in and say, "Don't you ask for nothing. Don't you ask for nothing." And when it was crazy, we get in there, we'd still ask for something. But, you know, we had to come to an understanding that everything had to be done for a reason. And it's the same thing. Same thing with us. We had to be, everything has to be done for a reason. If we're going to better our society and come together as a better group of individuals and people, we have to start by correcting ourselves. Outlandish, crazy looks, styles, going out being too sexy. The first thing I've already touched on. The second thing that I wanted to touch on that is the security measures in which dressing like that places you in a position of vulnerability. And the reason I say that is because under most circumstances, there are more bad guys randomly walking around out there that you don't know than it is good guys you can run into that you would know. I'm going to say that again. There are more bad guys with bad intentions out there that you don't know than it is good guys that you can run into that you do know. And the reason I say that is because you don't want to put yourself in a situation or in a predicament in which your security is compromised, all because your desire to look a certain way around people. Accountability. We talk about the accountability. You're gonna say that you dress this in this type of clothing, knowing that it's bad people out there, and you expect for these bad people to have good behavior just because you're in a society that wants it. It don't work like that. We have to start talking to each other, encouraging each other, and letting each other know where the boundaries lie, because people is not, you know how they say guns kill people? It's not guns that kill people, it's people that kill people. Well, it's not It's not guns that stop bad people. It's good people that stop bad people. And at the end of the day, we can't stop all bad people. But what you can do is dress more modest, and you can be more considerate of the fact that there is bad people out there. And yeah, it's good people that protect good people from bad people. But how often do you catch nowadays a good person that won't grab their phone and start recording on their phone instead of helping you? Let's keep it real. Our society is gone bananas. And one thing that we are missing in this world is accountability. Another thing when it comes down to accountability. A woman, for women. I named a whole plethora of things for men at the very beginning. So if you didn't catch it, please go back to the beginning and check out all the things that that I touched on men. I'm gonna try to run over some of them again in a little bit, but quickly, if you don't have right task, wrong woman, right task, wrong woman, please check out my book. Come support Right Task, Wrong Woman. This is a bit and piece of my biography, my life story. It tells you kind of the things that I had to go through when it came down to relationships, and some of the things that I went through when it came down to developing the mindset of being a modern man in our modern society, when the world is in contrary to the traditional values and the moralities that you stand by. So that being said, back to accountability. We're touching on the women in accountability. The one thing that I look at is how, our society is starting to build itself to where there's equality across the board. And if the equality is across the board, then, everyone's saying that everyone should be able to do certain things and be a part of certain sports and different things of that nature. So not only are they equaling the playing field with men and women, but now transgenders jumped in, and now they're all equaling the playing field across the board. So now we see transgenders going into women's sports, and now we see men's sports starting to be more vulnerable and susceptible to bringing in more women and more feminized athletes into the field so that we can compete amongst each other. Now, my question to you is, whose fault is this? Because realistically, I don't want my daughter or any woman that I know playing sports with a grown man that I wouldn't even play sports with. Whose fault is this? Is it men's fault for allowing this stuff to get so far? Or is it women's fault for pushing for these rights to be a part of their structured living, not knowing the repercussions of the circumstances if they transpire? I never thought in a million years I would see transgenders enter into sports with women, and all of a sudden these transgenders are kicking butt everywhere, breaking records. I'm talking about redefining what women's records are when it came down to, being capable of doing physical sports such as javelin throws and shot put and heavy lifting and wrestling and stuff like that, right? This stuff crazy, boy, I tell you. Accountability. I think it's all of our faults. I think we never came to the table to negotiate and talk any of these terms amongst each other for anything. And I'm not just talking about the whole situation when it comes down to sports. I'm talking about when it comes down to relationships as well. When it comes down to relationships, a lot of these relationships fail because we don't take accountability amongst each other and amongst our friends and our loved ones when it comes down to deciding and really truthfully relaying relaying information out in a relationship and amongst individuals that are giving you information about your relationship. That's what I always want to touch on. Because let's be real. If we were honest with ourselves, if we was honest about Joe Blow that we was bringing to our daddy, the women that were bringing Joe Blow to their daddies and stuff, those women, if they were honest about how he was doing in school, how he acted in class, how he treat his parents, how he treat his cousins, they daddies, they uncles, they brothers would be like, what are you doing? You done lost your mind? Not him. He done lost his mind. We gonna run him off. That's how it would have been straight off the bat going forward. But realistically, we didn't talk about those things. It's just like that old boy. He saw that pretty little girl and she had a nasty attitude, and yes, she was toxic, and he was like, yeah, she fine though, boy. Got her edges laid. She got the same hairstyle all the other women that go to his school or they go to his job got. I mean, she got the fingernails done, got the eyelashes, you know what I'm saying, sticking off her face about 5 feet. She got her eyebrows done, you know what I'm saying. She done got her lip nared, got her legs nared, got her armpits nared, got underneath, I mean, everything nared, got it all. I'm talking about smelling good, all of that, right? But he didn't go home and say, mama, she cussed at her own parents. Mama, she cussed around her grandma, her grandpa. Mama, she did do some crazy stuff back in the day she don't want to really tell me about, but my homeboys told her about. But I love her though, because she fine and she think that I'm the best thing going. We didn't talk to daddy and tell her, yeah, she fine, daddy, she thick too. That's the only thing we can say, right? We didn't say, yeah, how's she doing in school? Oh, she dropped out of school. How's she doing? Oh, she got pregnant, but she had a miscarriage last year. Even though I'm a virgin, I still like her though. These are the things that we gotta talk about. Accountability. Want to know the truth? As parents, we need to be talking to our parents about these things where our children don't go down the same path. Because they could be in 10 years looking for love in all the wrong places. Just like we have. The remarkable part is this though. We don't have to always do the same loop of doing the messed up stuff over and over again. We can make a better decision. We can make better decisions to do better things. It just depends on whether you are gonna decide to do that. We didn't talk to our parents, our friends, and the people that truly give us love-driven advice, because we didn't think that the advice that they were gonna tell us was what we wanted to hear. And because we didn't, a lot of us are sitting here watching these videos, listening to these podcasts, and we're sitting here thinking to ourselves, dang, my life could have been different. And the reality is, it could have, but it wasn't. And because it wasn't, that's fine. It's okay. It's alright. It's going to be alright. Because at the end of the day, you can start right now going forward, building a better life, planning a better future, having a better insight. But it all starts with accountability. You got to take responsibility for your life, how you affected your life. Just like I talked about men earlier. Men will sit here and lie and manipulate, deceive, and try to be that one guy, you know, that make things shake, make it seem pretty cool, until he get what he want from you. And then make it seem like it's your fault y'all didn't make it. It's your fault y'all didn't work. Accountability. We all have problems. But the one thing we need to get in control of is our own accountability. Because with true accountability, you can come to the table and you can say, you know what? This is where I need to start to build on myself. This is where I need to start to build on myself. What's everyone's problem with accountability? Everyone's problem with accountability is being the one that is the issue. the one that is the reason why you're not successful. You're the reason why you're not successful. You're the reason why it didn't work. You're the reason why people don't like accountability, because it points the finger back at them. And because that's the reality that we have, the reality that we live, we should look at accountability as a foundation for building a strong foundation for building a strong future going forward. We should. Love goes hand in hand with accountability. And I want to touch on this real quick before I leave, because my time is well spent. I'm going to try to keep them 30 to 40 minutes long here and there. But definitely I'm loving this topic, because accountability is just one of those topics that people try to stray away from and try to run from, because it shows you that you're the problem. Accountability is one of those things that points the finger back at you, and a lot of people don't like for the fingers to be pointed at them. They don't like to be the reason why you're failed. The reason why parts of your life fail. The reason why parts of your life don't work. So, that being the case, love goes with accountability. Goes hand in hand with accountability. And because love goes hand in hand with accountability, you cannot love someone without being accountable for their feelings, for their emotions, for your actions, for making sure that you're not crossing the threshold that they have set forth for you to keep them happy. Love and accountability goes hand in hand. And without accountability, your love can't be genuine. You can do things that make it seem like you love a person, but when you take accountability for those actions, meaning that you have intent and purpose behind the things that you do. When you start to do and move with intent and purpose, that form of accountability makes people love you even more. That's true. It makes people love you even more. And when people start loving you, based off of your the accountability that they see by the love that you share, I promise you, it changes the way that people treat you forever. I just started looking at the comments, and I was looking at one of my viewers. It says, to me, it is being responsible and accepting of the consequences of one's own actions. I love that. And that is exactly what accountability is. Accountability, you have to be responsible and accepting of the consequences. It's just like, ooh, that's juicy, David Jones. You have to be accepting of one's consequences. It's just like having a person that is guilty for something, and you ever see someone that's guilty and they say, okay, all right, I'm guilty, but I ain't do it exactly how they said it happened. Like accountability, you got to accept the consequences and look at it, not only look at it from your point of view, but you have to have a perspective to see it from the point of view of the other people as well. Come on now, that is good. Brittany Guerin say that only the one that can take the constructive criticism. Some people won't listen to their friends. Ooh, that is juicy. And a lot of people won't listen to their friends because they feel like their friends are just being judgmental. And the reality is, judgment should come from your friends. Because if anyone's going to judge the actions that you have, it should be the people that you love. Come on now. If anyone should judge the actions that you do, the actions that you partake in, the actions that you display as a person that is out here in the world, and other people see you on a regular basis, the one thing that people see is your actions. The one thing you don't see is your own actions. So the ones that actually see the actions that you partake in, those individuals should be the ones that speak and talk to you and actually give you insight and judge you when you do things that are in contrary to your behavior or to normal behavior that people don't either deem normal, or they deem acceptable, or they don't deem acceptable. Accountability is a gift that must be accepted. There is positive accountability as well. That's right. And I love the fact that every person that has the ability to have accountability for their actions, a lot of them, they pick and choose what to have accountability for. But we should have accountability for everything. And that's the truth. Everything should have accountability. We should have accountability for when we step out of the bed in the morning, we back up. It's just like backing up, and as you're backing into the street, somebody hit you. Boom. Oh, the stupid idiot! They didn't even hit me. Well, did you look both ways before you backed up? Before you accelerated, did you make sure and ease out to make sure no one was there? This just like in the Sunday school lesson today. One of the things that I touched on is ignorance of the law. There is taught that ignorance of the law is no excuse for the law. So if you get caught in our court of law, regardless whether you're in right standing or not, ignorance of the law, just because you didn't know what the law was, they'll tax you, they'll fine you, they'll throw you in jail, they'll bust your head with all type, they'll tow your vehicle. It don't matter. Why? Because ignorance of the law is no excuse for the law. Accountability is something we all should have. It's something we should all be partaking in. And if we are not taking accountability for our own actions, then I guess you can just say you got some maturing to do. I think accountability for our previous failures is the perfect foundation for building moving forward. And until we get to that point of understanding what we should take accountable for in our own lives, then we'll always be stuck in a rut, trying to figure out what the problem is without starting first within ourselves. My time is well spent. My time is so far away now. I guess it's time for me to get off here. I love talking to you all. I sit here and talk all day long, I promise you. But most importantly, I want you to make sure that you get this book. Right Task, Wrong Woman. Right Task, Wrong Woman. This book, I've the individuals that's been getting back with me on it has told me that it is a reader. It is definitely something that keeps you turning in your head, turning the page over and over again. And you know, not a lot of us have a lot of time to read, and I understand that. But if you do get a chance to get this book, Right Task, Wrong Woman, I definitely want you to come and get a copy from me personally. I will be giving out signed copies of this book for $20 cash. Signed copies of this book for $20 cash. And these food for thoughts that we have every week, they come from the food for thoughts that are in my book. And I'm going to show you what I mean. This food for thought, these food for thoughts, I have in this book for you to be able to read, you be able to learn, you be able to figure out what about yourself you need to work on to build so that you can have great, not just relationships when it come down to dating, but relationships when it come down to communicating with people just in general. I've been in public speaking and public communication for more than 10 years now. And one thing that I've learned over the years about talking is, it's universal. It isn't just about being able to talk in front of people and all this other stuff. If you can't talk behind the scenes and in the bedroom, if you can't talk to your spouse or to your loved one, to your friends, then when it comes down to talking to individuals that are you're trying to build a relationship with, it's just going to be 10 times harder. Because there's a lot of people that have been through a lot of things that you have to be able to unpeel that onion. You got to be able to peel those layers back in order to receive the heart from a person. Or peel your own layers back so you will be able to give your own heart to a person that is deserving of everything you have to offer. Like I said, my time is spent. I'm at 45 minutes now. I thank you all for your support. Thank you for coming in and checking out my food for thought. Right task, wrong woman. Right task, wrong woman. This is a great day. I apologize for not being in this past Friday. I will be in this coming up Friday. I will also be on tomorrow. Tomorrow afternoon, I will be doing What Now? That's right. I have a new segment coming out. It's called What Now? What we're talking about is the things that are happening all across the news, all across the world. What took place yesterday in Israel, was taking place in the Ukraine, was taking place in the South China Sea, was taking place all over Africa, was taking place in South America, Venezuela, Peru, Canada, the United States, when it comes down to our political field, when it comes down to Donald Trump and his indictments, when it comes down to Mitch McConnell and how he had a freeze a couple of weeks ago, or the Kevin McCarthy getting ousted out of the House of Representatives, no longer being the speaker, what it means. I want to talk about it all, but I need you to be able to jump in, comment, and let me know about the things that you want to talk about. That being said, I am out of here. Thank you for joining us. It's your host, yours truly, Sub 0501. It's a Code production. I'll see you soon. Peace.